to our program. We are going to have Dr. Kanyewa first to speak for 5 minutes, then you take your seat, then you go the next, then the students will come in and ask questions, and then we proceed like that. We believed in shared governance. We believe that our sun is setting, and is that sunset? Okay. And the sun is rising. So we are on our way out. So this is the new generation, the tactic people. So over to you, our moderators for today. Miss Rumbizo Sande, can you stand up so that people can see you? Miss Rumbizo Sande. Okay. And then Mr. Kid Sambo. I know them personally. These two students, and now I have the pleasure to make sure to hand over the mic to them. So we'll start with Dr. Kanyewa. So students are now, you are free, we are free. You can see we are free, isn't it? This is a learning environment. Let's be free. The vice chancellors, all these people, the deans, they are not here. So let's not be afraid of the lecturers. So let's enjoy. Let's ask those questions, okay? Don't also be afraid of me. I'm not a lion. I'm not a tiger. I'm not a lioness. I'm not a vampire. I don't do TikTok. So over to you, Dr. Kanyewa. Say, can come and address. Can we have a round of applause for Dr. Kanyewa?
Thank you very much. As a way of opening, I'd like to say two things. First of all, the rendition of Vrangaina that I heard here, I think it's probably the best rendition that I've heard of that song. I had a prayer point because I've never heard angels sing. So I'm going to delete that one now and use that space to ask God for something else. That was really angelic. Thank you. And the second thing is that whatever I'm here to say, I think the bottom line is whatever you do it as if you are doing it for God. I think that's the most important thing that you can take from here. I have applied it myself during my working life, and opportunities have come from almost everywhere. So I think that's the second thing that I should talk to you about. I'm not sure now how the process is. Do I start with our WHO things and then go to other issues? All right. So let me quickly just talk about WHO for all of us here. That's for students and even for the lecturers. WHO is not open for students only, but even lecturers can join in. We are a specialized health agency which works under the United Nations banner, and I'm hoping some of my United Nations colleagues have been able to come because I saw they had been invited. WHO is a global body with its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, but it also has got 6 regions, of which we belong to the regional office for Africa, which is usually just shortened as AFRO. So you hear WHO AFRO, that's the regional office, with its headquarters in Congo, in Brazzaville. I work in WHO Zimbabwe. We also have an inter-country team which supports East and Southern Africa here in Zimbabwe. And we work basically to promote health and to keep the world safe, and also making sure we save the vulnerable people. We coordinate issues to do with health emergencies, and we also promote well-being. There's a colleague who spoke about climate health somewhere here. We are seriously into those issues as WHO because we know how much it's affecting health. We also work to prevent diseases, as many people know. and making sure people have got access to health care. We are an agency that really values the guidance from the overall United Nations in terms of integrity, in terms of professionalism, and also in terms of respecting diversity. We have core values, 5 of them. We are an agency that is supposed to be trusted to serve the public health at all times. We are also an agency that has staff that are supposed to be committed to the excellence in health. We are supposed to be persons of integrity, and we are supposed to be collaborative because we cannot deliver health alone. Health is for all, and we also have to be caring for people. Just to give you an outline, we have a stand, we'll talk more, an outline of how we are laid out as WHO. There's management and leadership, of course, which is headed by the WHO representative himself, whose role is really to uphold all the roles of WHO in the changing world, especially on health issues. We have got experts in public health, and I'm one of those who work to drive programs. You hear malaria, TB, HIV, nutrition, climate change, road safety, all those programs. We look into them as public health professionals. We also are responsible for emergencies, like I have mentioned earlier. Emergencies in terms of diseases like the cholera outbreak, COVID-19, issues to do with polio, but also emergencies that are natural, like the droughts, the floods, the cyclones, and also even man-made emergencies. Let's say there are spillages from chemical industries, for example, or radiation industries, for example. We are responsible for responding to that. But we also have operations department. So when you come to WHO, there will be secretaries, there will be administrators, there will be logistics people, we have communications people. Right now we are a team. I'm representing the technical people, but we have someone from communications and someone who's responsible for transport and logistics from our offices. Then just of interest to especially the students, the categories in broad for people working in WHO, there's general service staff, like I mentioned, cleaners, security, and all those. But WHO also offers consultancies. That's why I said even lecturers. WHO is responsible for giving out recommendations which are based on evidence. So we look to the academia to come up with some of those. So we always engage even lecturers on consultancies, short term, 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe shorter, maybe longer, so that we come up with something that we can recommend to our ministries, especially the Ministry of Health and Child Care. Then we have national professional officers, that is ourselves, the foot soldiers in WHO. In every country, whether it's in Kenya, whether it's in Uganda, they are national professional officers, and they are supposed to be nationals of that country. You cannot employ a foreigner in that position. And then we also have international professional staff. That means in Zimbabwe, we can have someone from Nigeria, for example, as an international. So you can still apply for jobs in another country as an international professional staff. And we also have what we call talent programs, but I've restricted myself to a few. There is what is called the Junior Professional Officer Program. That program is usually supported by donor countries. So a few of our African countries are supporting that. What they then usually do is they move forward funding to WHO offices in a country, but also they look for opportunities for their nationals to come and have experience working in the other country. And we also have internships. So usually these are for students or those who have just qualified to just get a feel of how it is like to work in WHO. What are you expected to do? If you eventually get a job in WHO, just get the experience of it. So we have those internships. We also do have fellowships. Fellowships where WHO supports further education in any health field. But these ones, usually, they come as a recommendation from the Ministry of Health and Child Care. So you can't apply for those directly. We'll share a little bit more when we go to our stands so that we give more details. But in terms of WHO, I think this is what I'll just start with. Then later we can explore the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, WHO. We all know the role that WHO played during COVID-19, where everyone was making reference to WHO. Others were disputing, I think like President Trump and others. And myself, I was also disputing some of the things that were being done there. So I'm just joking, okay. We are academics, we look at those things, but I think it's more important. So after this presentation, let's flood the WHO stand. Let's ask everything. Let's ask for the fellowships, everything that we can do, what they do, so that we can see where we can fit in. That's the whole purpose why we are here. Now we call upon Dr. Chitochombe, please. Just stick to 5 minutes. GMT. Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much. Let me just say, all protocol observed. I'm sure it's still morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As he said, I'm Kingston Chitochombe, a former student of Africa University. And I work for an organization known as Environmental Management Agency. Thank you, choir, for singing Mvura Ngainaye, because the moment we start to talk about Mvura Ngainaye, we are talking about environmental issues. We are talking about our environment. Someone was talking about climate change. Those are the issues that are affecting our continent, that are affecting Zimbabwe, that are affecting everyone when it comes to management of the environment. Over and above the issues of climate change, there are also issues of land degradation, loss of soil productivity. There are issues of pollution, scarcity of resources out there that would demand innovative ways, people with the skills who can manage, who can respond to the problems that the environment is facing, who can respond to the problems that our communities are facing. Let me go straight to background, to the organization that I work for, because my time, I think I've already exhausted 1 minute. Environment Management Agency is a statutory body that is formed in terms of the Environment Management Act, Chapter 2027. It falls under the Ministry of Environment, Climate, and Wildlife Management. And under that same ministry, there are other resource managers that again manage environmental issues. We have our Forestry Commission, we have Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, we also have a Climate Change Department. All those, they fall within the same ministry. The EMA Act provides for sustainable natural resources and protection of the environment, prevention of pollution and land degradation. That's generally what we do, and that's what the Act provides for. And together with those other sister departments, we do almost more or similar work, just that another agency is looking at forest resources, another agency is looking at wildlife resources, then another agency is looking at our environment in general. Then our vision is to ensure that everyone has a clean, safe and healthy environment. The doctor here was talking about maybe diseases out there that could be attributed to the way we are managing or we are exploiting our environment. Generally, as EMA, we provide a number of services, one of which we do what is known as environmental licensing, where we permit people to pollute the environment within acceptable limits. We also do what is known as environmental monitoring, where we are supposed to detect pollution, where we are supposed to detect environmental degradation. We also do what are known as laboratory tests for pollution, just to determine the pollution loads within the receiving environments. Over and above these, it's also very important that whatever we do, we should be able to report. So we do what is known as environmental reporting. So for the agents to be able to perform these duties and functions, and remember I said environment is quite diverse. There are so many things, and according to literature that I read, we are less than 20% knowledgeable about the things of the environment, meaning to say the other 80%, it's an area of, we don't know what is in the other 80%. So what it means is, as we learn as graduates, we need to come up with innovation, researches that will explore into that world of the unknown, those things that we don't know. Certain diseases that we can't treat now, maybe it's because we don't know what's behind those diseases, and they are in the environment. So for us to respond to the challenges, we have my environment officers. Environment officers in their different capacities, because of the varied nature of the environment, people with chemistry, I heard someone was talking about climate change, biotechnology, biology, physics, agriculture, geography, biological sciences, chemical engineers, all those people, they contribute a lot in terms of management of the environment. Again, besides the officers, we also have what are known as environmental technicians. And these are mostly the foot soldiers who can measure pollution, who can do models, environmental models, maybe to predict pollution loads, maybe for a given environment. And normally, people of that nature are the people that do chemistry, physics, biology, that can do laboratory technology, and so forth. Then again, because these two, they constitute our core mandate, environment officers and technicians. We also have support staff. Support staff, those are the people that support these people by way of information technology. The people who can assist maybe in terms of networking. We also have legal services, because we are dealing with a number of litigations, court challenges. We have a legal division. We also have the finance and administration component, and these are the people that are responsible for managing our finances, that ensures that we are able to do the day-to-day services. Then again, for us to join EMA, we have to join through the Human Resources Department. So we also have that department within Emma. Again, we buy goods and services on a day-to-day basis, and therefore we need people with procurement qualification. And currently, government thrust is to ensure that whatever we do, we are able to track implementation of our programs through what is known as monitoring and evaluation. So monitoring and evaluation has become a very important component in our day-to-day work. Then all what I've said, we have the technician up to the senior management grade, and at the top of Emma, we are headed by the Director General. Then below them, there are 3 directors, one responsible for finance and administration, one responsible for environment management services, one responsible for finance and for environmental protection. Then below the directors, we have managers. That's my grade. And we are quite decentralized up to district level, and we have opportunities both at the officer level and also at management level. Other opportunities also come in by way of consultants. Remember I said we have a lot of issues that we don't know. There's need for a lot of research out there, so sometimes we subcontract such services to tertiary institutions. I think I've exhausted my 5 minutes, or I've slightly exceeded with 1 minute. Otherwise, thank you. Let me hand over this time to the chairperson.
Another round of applause for environmental management agents. But when I didn't know that, what it stands for, some people were saying Emma, then I thought of my sister. Then I was told that it's environmental management agents. So you see, the whole spectrum where you can fit in. You can fit in anyway because they're dealing with the complex issues. So the opportunities are there. Let's go and flood again their stand. Let's talk to them. Let's try to understand. Let's be curious. Let's be inquisitive. Let's be futuristic. Let's be selfish also. Selfishness is a good thing if done proper. It means that you are. What I mean is that your next door neighbor maybe didn't have money to go to university, but you came to university because you were thinking of yourself and you want to improve yourself. But if you want to say you were not selfish, you should have said, I'm resigning, I'm not going to university because the other person next to me is also not going. So as you seek your selfish ends to be an accountant, you'll be saving society. So let's really be selfish to save ourselves in a good way. Without wasting time, we call upon Dr. Mukaro from CIMAS.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to be here representing CIMAS Health Group Limited. All protocols observed. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm here to represent CIMAS, a company which was established in 1945 as a medical aid funder. And then over the years, it has grown and is now offering several services other than medical aid. The company is now offering hospital and clinic services, pharmacy services, and wellness programs. And as a recruiter now in the 21st century, and because the company has grown, not only does it look into healthcare services, which are the doctors, the nurses, lab scientists, but also as a business, for it to run, it looks into different other careers like people and culture, finance, IT, marketing, customer experience, corporate affairs, business development, project management, and risk and assurance. And so today we are here to tell you that our company is open for many other careers other than health services. And it is a company that is full of vibrant young individuals. Actually, in our statistics, the majority are between 20 and 30 years, making up about 34 to 36% of a company. And all the other age groups come down in percentage ranking. We also give opportunities to women, with 55% of the company's population being ladies and 45% being men. We include policies that encompass our interns. There's actually what we call an interns general handbook. So CMAS today would like you to come to our stand and learn more about the organization and why you should think about CMAS when you are also looking into doing your attachment or even starting your career. I'll not take much of your time, but I'll also show you that we, as a company, are creative and innovative. Our core values are stewardship, togetherness, creativity, proactivity, caring, consequence, and passion. So I hope I have all your attention so that we can all wake up and enjoy the rest of our panelists' presentations. If I could do something that's a bit out of line, if I still have time, maybe all stand up and just stretch so that we remain vibrant. It's such a hot day, so I think we need to keep stimulating our brains. And as someone in the healthcare profession, I'm into fitness and I'm into wellness, and let's just move and stretch. We'll spell CMAS by moving our bodies, like C, I, M, A, S. I hope I spelled it correctly. Thank you.
Thank you. Some have never stretched this year, so they only stretch when they are eating. So it's good to stretch every morning for the mind, body, and so forth. So thank you so much, CMAS. You know, the doctors, medical doctors, they don't talk much. They just say, how are you feeling? Tell me your symptoms. They write the prescription. Then you go and get the drugs. Next, come in. Then they say next, and so forth. Because it was, so we thank you so much. I hope students also got CMAS and let's show them love. Let's understand everything. It's not about just health. It's about all the range of services. And it's a challenge for you young ladies and young men to join an organization where it's also made up of young people. And I think you can also show them the skills. You can relate easily on other platforms like TikTok and other things. So we collaborate. Mr. Nari. Mr. Nari, say. Mr. Nari. Okay.
Good afternoon. I was hoping after the stretch we'll be more lively. Good afternoon once again. That's better. My name is Calvin Nari. I represent Econet Wireless. I work as the head of talent and organizational development. I'm here to talk to you about your company. I call it your company because I know most of us, if not all of us, are Econet customers, so it's your company. So I'm here just to remind you about your business and what it does. So as Econet, we envision, our vision really, is a digitally connected future that leaves no Zimbabwean behind. So our core values include pioneering. We always talk about innovation. So if you are passionate about innovating, creating things, Econet is your company. We also have the value of being personal. Here we are talking about making sure that we are attending to a customer according to their personal needs. We personalize our service. And lastly, our third value is professionalism, making sure that we are serving you in the most professional, the right way you should be served. So Econet is 25, in fact this year we're turning 26 years old. We turned 25 last year. We started trading in 1998 on the 10th of July. So last year we celebrated our 25 years, and this year will be 26. So we are not a very old company, but as a business, we can now call ourselves a Pan-African business because we now operate across the African continent. With the company that I'm representing, Econet Wireless Zimbabwe, being a mobile network operator that we all know, but we also have our sister companies within the group who also operate in many African countries, as you might know, including Econet in Lesotho, Econet in Burundi, Liquid Telecoms, and other businesses that are within the group. But I'll be talking to you mostly about Econet Wireless Zimbabwe. So as a business, talking about recruitment so that I stick within my time. As a business, as a mobile network operator or a telecommunications company, as you know us, you know us as a mobile telecommunications company, I would say, but we are a digital company. We look at ourselves as a digital company because we provide the solutions that enable businesses to run digitally, be it whether we are providing data, we are providing platforms where we can have machine-to-machine communication, business-to-business communication solutions, business-to-customer communication solutions, or is it we are offering products like gaming? You know, we've got gaming platforms, we've got music, and many others. So we look at ourselves as a digital business. So we attract skills across many segments. We've got engineers who look after the network. We have got experts in terms of supply chain management. We've got experts in terms of finance, marketing, sales, human resources, management, risk management. We have a broad network, or rather, we've got a broad areas where experts can actually come and work within our business. One of the things I wanted to just highlight before I end my short introduction of what Econet is that there are many opportunities within Econet, whether at internship level, or you are coming in as a graduate trainee or a graduate learner, or you are coming in to work as a full-time employee. If you visit the Econet stand, I'm sure you will get to know more about how you can actually take advantage of these opportunities and join the organization. But I do thank you for having us and for this opportunity to talk to you. Come to the Econet stand and we can have further conversations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Econet Wireless, inspired to change our world. I'm sure Econet, you left a lot of things. Econet also provides scholarships for students. I think it's called Higher Life Foundation. There are so many things. So they are into the community. They are not only just charging too much on the airtime, but some of it is coming back. They are not only extorting from us, they are also saying, we are taking too much. Let's return some of it. So it's good to have Econet with us. And you know, Econet when it was formed, I was there. You know, when Econet was formed in the year of our Lord, 1998, I was in my first year at the University of Zimbabwe. So when they started their things, but now we are more involved in what they do. So thank you so much so far, CIMAS, Emma, World Health Organization. Thank you so much. Now we proceed to Mr. Madudike, Director, Little Blackwood Farm. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity, Director of Ceremonies, and I observe all the protocols. So I was just listening through, everyone was in front of me, their doctor, so and so, and I was feeling a bit out of place because I'm the only one who is not the doctor, but I was glad for my colleague here from Econet, so I feel a bit comfortable. Thank you, sir. So my angle to this is a bit peculiar because I am an entrepreneur in the agricultural space. So I'm not inviting you to work at my company, but I'm inviting you to become part of the entrepreneurs who change Zimbabwe, who change Africa, who change the world, because that's where I represent. So in sharing about myself, you're going to learn a little bit about what is possible within the agricultural value chain, or what we now call the food systems. So I'm a farmer, but by profession I'm an agricultural engineer from the University of Zimbabwe, and I'm also a project management professional. And most importantly, I'm a youth advocate within the food system space. I'm the National Youth Chairperson of the Zimbabwe Farmers Union, which is the biggest farmers organization in Zimbabwe, and one of the most influential organizations of farmers, even at a global level. We have about 300,000 farmers who are members, because Zimbabwe Farmers Union itself is a membership-based farmer organization. So I lead a youth wing which now has about 6,000 young farmers and agripreneurs. Now we use the term agripreneurs to represent every entrepreneur within the food system space. There might be innovators. So everyone in here who might be in ICT, there are solutions that you can provide in the agricultural space. And Zimbabwe Farmers Union Youth Wing is there to capture those people as well, to give them room. For example, we have one of our innovators who represented who was pitching at Generation Africa last year in Kenya, who was part of the top 10 entrepreneurs in the agricultural space in Africa. So we have a broad spectrum of professions within the agricultural space. There are consultants, there are agronomists, there are people who are practicing, who are doing agricultural sciences, who are doing veterinary sciences, who are doing crop sciences. Whatever that you are doing, ZFU is a good space for you to nurture your talent and your profession and to interact with diverse farmers, understand their needs, and be of solution. One of the biggest challenges in the world, especially sub-Saharan Africa, is access to food or food security. and even hunger. And if there is this big problem in Africa, then it means that the biggest opportunity will be found in agriculture. And entrepreneurs like yourself, regardless of which area of study you come from, can provide a solution to the biggest challenge. And they say, where the problem is, there the money is. So we are calling you the Zimbabwe Farmers Union, or to the profession in agriculture per se, to be of value, to be a solution. I'm also representing Southern African Confederation of Agricultural Unions as the regional youth chairperson for 19 organizations within Southern Africa, 12 countries, where there are youth wings there as well. So Africa is not left out. I'm also representing young entrepreneurs that are within these 12 countries. So we sit together, we advocate for young people, we develop the space of farming, the space of food system, so that it is viable, it is profitable for young people. There is now a very common term that most people use when they are talking about bringing young people into agriculture. They say make agriculture sexy, which is quite a term that most people would not like, but it is a way of saying that many young people have not been into agriculture because they perceive it to be a poor man's business. But if we make it attractive, which is part of my role as a youth advocate, we bring in as many fresh minds, innovative minds like yourself to begin to venture in agriculture because we believe it is profitable. So part of my role in Zimbabwe Farmers Union is advocacy with our government at regional level and even at international level, so that the field itself captures the needs of the young people and invites them to come and create wealth for generations. I'll just leave you with these statistics before I sit, because I see the director of ceremonies raising his hand to say you're going overboard. It is expected that in 30 years there will be need for 11 million jobs to cater for the young people in Africa. We're experiencing what is called the youth bulge, where over 70% of people in Africa are actually within the age of 10 to 35 years. We are the youngest continent. So jobs might become or will become scarce if we continue at this rate. So it means one of the things for young people to get into employment is going to be agriculture. So my gospel today is not to employ you, but my gospel today is to motivate you to create employment for yourself and for other people. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I wasn't looking at you. Actually, you did use most of your time. So I was tempted to add more time also. So everything was working well for you. So thank you so much. There you are. The messages. There are two messages. Let's make agriculture sexy. Number two, let's be our own bosses, because there will be no jobs. But you can see in the agricultural spectrum, there's opportunity for everyone to work there. And if we have more food, more organic food, more natural food, we are going to spend less money. CIMAS is going to save a lot of money. You know, CIMAS doesn't like people who who are not feeling well because it's money getting out. Okay, is that correct? So we save CIMAS becomes big and so forth. And also EMA, they are also working with them to make sure that the environment is safe. And maybe World Health Organization will have no job to do because we'll be fit and it's loose, we eliminated, we save more money and so forth. So it's very, very important for us youth to engage in agriculture. Fortunately, in this country, the land is now in the hands of people, of black people who can farm. So in other African countries where the land is still in the hands of white people, I'm challenging you to do what we did here. Take the land, occupy, populate with small farmers, make money, create food, create jobs. So the revolution must continue. So beware those countries where there are still land that is derelict, land barons. So it's quite refreshing to have young people into farming. You know, Zimbabwe Farmers Union it used to be looked down upon because with the Commercial Farmers Union and so forth. And it is still there. It's young people who are pushing it. And just for your own information, one of the presidents, former president of the Zimbabwe Farmers Union, is a national hero, Gary Magadzire, recognized for trying to have a lone voice to say, let's use the land, let's make money, let's create jobs, let's be our own bosses. So that's the challenge for you. In whatever you are doing, try to be your own boss. Okay, thank you so much. Then we now invite my former boss, Mr. Ndoro, Public Service Commission. Can we have a round of applause for my former boss, please?
Thank you, Chairperson. All protocols observed. My name is Wilfred Ndoro. I'm the District Coordinator for Public Service Commission in Mtasa District. But today I'm standing in for the Provincial Coordinator, Public Service Commission, Manicaland, who is committed elsewhere. Public Service Commission is the biggest recruiter. We are all listening to recruiters, but Public Service Commission is the biggest recruiter in the country. And the Public Service Commission is at the apex of the executive. There are three arms which are at the apex of the executive. We have the Office of the President, which gives mandates, and we have Public Service Commission, which is a human resources arm responsible for recruiting. And the last one is Ministry of Finance, which mobilizes resources and pays. So what is the mandate of Public Service Commission? I'm not going to give you all the mandates, but I'm going to give you just three. Its mandate is to appoint qualified and not just qualified and competent persons to hold posts in government. And the second function is to fix conditions of service for civil servants, including salaries and other benefits. And it also exercises disciplinary powers over government workers. And also, Public Service Commission is there to advise the President and the Minister on matters relating to public service. I'm not going to take time. I'm going to stick to the 5 minutes that I've been given. How do you join the biggest recruiter? We have developed an HRMIS, Human Resources Management Information System, where you can do online registration. And this one, you can do it in the comfort of your home, in any part of the world. You can do it even in South Africa or any other country. If you visit our stand, we'll explain to you how you can do the online registration. Then, if you have challenges in online registration, you can visit district offices. We have 74 districts in the country. If you visit any district, they can assist you, or you can also visit the provincial offices. They can also assist you in registering. So, what are eligibility for appointments? if you want the Public Service Commission, we register members with minimum of 5 O-levels, diploma and degrees. They can join the public service. So be free to visit us. We can register you, and we also register members who are 18 years and above, but below 65 years. For matter of interest, I know you as students might need industrial attachment. Public Service Commission has reintroduced the attachment for students from colleges and universities. What you need is just a letter introducing yourself from your university and your application letter, but you also later on would want to have a police clearance to check if we are if we have recruited the best person. Industrial attachment is not only done in Public Service Commission, it is done also in the government departments and line ministries. Public Service Commission has over 20 line ministries and departments. I'm not going to read them out to you, but if you visit our stand, we will give you the line ministries that you can visit for industrial attachment, and also we can share with you their mandates. Thank you very much for giving me this time.
Thank you so much, Public Service Commission, the biggest recruiter in this country. Bigger than Econet, bigger than Siemens, bigger than everyone else. I now hand over to our moderators to take over, Mr. Sampo and Sunday. You can take over now. Okay. Can we have a round of applause for them as they take over?
Good day, everyone. Allow us to ride on the existing protocol. My name is Ms. Rumbizo Sande, a student ambassador and a first-year student from the School of Law. With me here today is my co-moderator,
Keith Sambo, first-year student pursuing a bachelor's degree in economics and a student ambassador from Mozambique.
Exciting times lie ahead for us in the 21st century. The ever-evolving and fast-paced industry, combined with the emergence and rapid progress of artificial intelligence, has left many with questions. But the question that lies deep within today is, what is the 21st century recruiter looking for? How can I better myself and tailor-make my skill sets to suit and surpass the expectations of the 21st century recruiter for now and in the future to come? Ladies and gentlemen, the answer lies with the experts, the ladies and gentlemen seated to my right.
We have some very impressive resumes of people who are sitting up here, exciting profiles, and no doubt we're going to benefit today. In no specific order, allow me to reintroduce to you our first set of panelists, Dr. T. Kainoa from the World Health Organization, Dr. K. Chitotombe from the Environmental Management Agency, Dr. M. Mukaro from CIMAS, Mr. C. Nyari from Econet Wireless, Mr. W. Madudike from Little Blackwood Farm, Mr. W. Ndoro from the Public Service Commission.
Let us from the onset say that recruiters, you do make us a little scared and filled with much anxiety as the questions run through our head. baffling us and filling our minds with all sorts of turmoils. Questions such as,
Did I make it into the job?
what exactly are they looking for in this role?
Do looks come into it?
What about my jovial personality?
In which aspect of my experience, study, or skill will impress them?
Well, today we're ecstatic that we get to learn from you, the experts. Here before you is the workforce, the business leaders, the brains of Zimbabwe and the world at large.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and import valuable takeaways that will positively impact our careers.
We shall now get into our questions with the respective panelists. May every panelist kindly be reminded that they have 2 minutes to respond to their question.
So our first question for our panelists is, what does the theme mean to you as an organization within your particular field? And what steps can we take to create a more inclusive and diverse work environment? And just a reminder, the theme of today is the 21st century recruiter and the future of work.
We'll start with you, sir.
Thank you very much. 2 minutes, what time? Okay, not black something time. All right, thank you. Okay, the theme we have, the 21st century recruiter and the future of work, really for WHO, it's a theme that talks to what are the requirements in a changing environment. And this change, we refer to change in terms of available technology, because technology is always improving, but also change in terms of health priorities. Now climate change is a big issue, and that's a big health priority, as well as the related emergencies. But it also speaks to change in the form of the required skill set to respond to the issues. So as the agency evolves, we really need to think in terms of that change in the future. And just a few things that I will highlight on the steps that we can create. I think advocacy is one big step. We need to speak to issues and get buy-in from people at the very top so that they understand the changing needs. Already we know the requirements for recruitment are changing because of the technology and so forth. So I think those are some of the steps we can take, maybe as a first step. And also to harness technology as it is now. We have to look into how we can utilize technology, especially through our recruitment processes. As an agency, we learned a lot during COVID-19, where we could not meet physically, yet we had to employ people. So we had to use platforms like the Zoom, like the Teams platforms. We also had to utilize existing platforms. Just as an example, LinkedIn platform. Somebody mentioned in the morning about the importance of what you post. So we get to get a name. Maybe somebody has done well in an interview, but we do not know the person anyway. We might do a little bit of background research, and usually if we find that you are also posting issues around what we have been looking for, we get some sort of comfort to say this is probably something that we want from someone. So I think my 2 minutes should be up, and I'll leave it to the next panelist. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll try to stick to my 2 minutes. But generally, we are looking at the evolution of the recruitment process, that which is driven by technological advancements to respond to the needs of the people or the needs of the environment. Like what I said in my presentation, there are so many things, there are so many issues. The environment is quite broad and it demands diversity in terms of the people that can manage, that can respond to problems or to environmental problems. Now we are at a stage where we need to monitor environmental trends or pollution while we are in our offices, meaning to say we need to use to ride on technology, to ride on skills, so that we are able to measure pollution maybe from Mutare River, to measure pollution trends for air, for soil, while we are in our offices. And that will cut a lot in terms of running costs. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I will paraphrase the question. What does the theme mean to CMAS within healthcare? So with the evolution or the progression of healthcare, we are aiming to embrace technology, and that encompasses including artificial intelligence in spaces such as telehealth, and in coming up with new programs, or rather, we need more people with skills in data analysis and artificial intelligence assistance. Not only are we looking into technology, but the future is evolving in terms of even our patient criteria. Their requirements now are becoming more diverse. We have become a global village, so you realize that you will meet patients of different ethnicities, and so we require more skills in communication skills, skills in cultural sensitivity. And not only do we look at the patient as the future, but we also want to focus on prevention and wellness. So skills that focus on preventative care and chronic disease management will require not only just someone being well vested in health, but they need to be more prevention-oriented, prevention-focused. And the traditional careers or the traditional responsibilities now need to be combined with new roles. Because of that incoming technology, we find that not only does maybe the IT department need to know about IT, but they now also need to get into cyber security because of protection of our patient files. We need collaborations with those in genomics. It's not only now just about treating diseases 1, 2, 3, but it's now about prevention and protection of that data. So that's what we are looking into in the future.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the question. So I'm looking at what the future of agriculture will be, because that's what the future of work in my field will look like. If we are looking at the trends, we are looking at AI, we are looking at Internet of Things, we are looking at digital, we are looking at science-driven agriculture, mechanization, the replacement of hardcore labor with machinery, the robots. So I think this will be something more exciting to young people, because we are going to phase out a lot of hard labor, a lot of drudgery that has been involved, that has made agriculture unattractive to young people. So if I were a researcher, if I was a student, I would look into research around how do we replace labor in agriculture and use machines and robots and make agriculture more exciting. But people would ask me, so where the labor goes, or the people who work in the farms, where would they go? It is very important actually, because normally if you look at the trajectory of all developed countries, you realize that there were people who used to work in the farms. But where are they now? Are they dead because they replaced that with machinery? No. It is common for humanity that when you put machines, people tend to get better work along the value chains. So I advise you not to only focus on farming, which is the most primary way of producing value within the agricultural value chain, but look into the value chain, mostly up the value chain, that's where the money is. There is researchers who are making billions of dollars. Now we have meat that is made in the laboratories. So instead of us focusing on our ordinary OPVs, the varieties that are open pollinated, how are we looking into making meat in the laboratories? I know there is a lot of debate around that, but for a young person, that is what you should look at. How do you disturb and disrupt the ecosystem of agriculture and come up with innovative products? That's what I'm looking at. And if you look in any country, you realize that as an economy develops, the contribution of agriculture to the GDP in terms of percentage decreases. For example, if you go to Germany, you'd find that the GDP contribution of agriculture is 1%, and only 2% of people are employed within the agricultural sector. When you look at Zimbabwe, agriculture contributes about 8% according to the World Bank, but we have over 50% of people committed in the agricultural sector. So am I biting myself right now? But I'm encouraging you to say, use your ICT to look into the future of agriculture, which will be less of people, more of machinery, and milk the money. That's where the money is. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The way we see it as Public Service Commission, as the largest employer in the country, we have to stay informed about the emerging trends and patterns in the workplace. So we are gradually removing the paper-based way of doing business, replacing it with the computer-based. I think I gave you an example that our online registration, you can now do it in any part of the country. So we are very much aware that we have to keep up with the emerging trends. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, like I mentioned, I work for a digital business. So for us, if you look at the future of work, from a technology perspective, you have to look at what industrial age or revolution are we in. And as we all might know, we are in the 4th industrial revolution. And the 4th industrial revolution has got 9 pillars or 9 key things that actually defines this era we are in. The first and the most famous of them is artificial intelligence. Secondly, we talk about big data and analytics, the ability to harness data and analyze it to make decisions. Thirdly, we talk about cybersecurity. You know, cybersecurity has become such a big thing. Issues of security online, security of data. And we also talk about cloud computing, autonomous systems, autonomous robots, robotics. I'm sure we've heard about some of this. But without going into the detail of all the pillars, the point I'm trying to make is these are the things that are shaping the future of work. We had an artificial intelligence, I would call it pop last year, where everyone was talking about ChatGPT. I'm sure all of us have heard about it. ChatGPT, there are many other varieties to it or competitors to it. So when we're looking at the future of work, these are the things that we need to look at. So from a skills development perspective, we should all be pivoting to understanding what it is. The era where we say, I am, to give an example, I'm an environmental science person, so I don't worry about artificial intelligence. You are actually fooling yourself because this is going to affect your space. In fact, we are now talking about human-computer augmentation, where we are saying most jobs, there will be a combination of a man and a machine. And some jobs, as they say, might be taken over by machines. Well, I don't know about that yet. But what we know for sure is that most jobs, for you to be effective, you need the human and the machine. Most people who are seated here, if you take out a laptop from them, they can't work. Because most of what they do needs a laptop, isn't it? But if you go back 30 years ago, You could spend the whole month without even touching a laptop, even if you might not have seen a laptop, but you'll be effective. So we need to harness and understand what the fourth industrial revolution is. And also for us, the future of work is also talking about how are people going to work. There's a book that I want to recommend for all of us, and it's called The 4-Day Week or The 4-Day Week by Andrew Barnes, who's talking about rethinking how we work. Why should we work 5 days a week? Why not 4? You know, this is where the world is. And in many economies, this is what is beginning to happen. So what we need to do, just as I hand over the mic, what we need to do, all of us, is to look at our area and say, what are those key technologies in the fourth industrial revolution that speak to what I do? And am I ready from a skills perspective in understanding how to transform and utilize those technologies for the change or for the revolution that is happening with the future of work?
Thank you, Mr. Nari, for that response. On to our second question with the mic beginning with Mr. Nari. What skill gaps are lacking in today's students? In today's world, there's a fast-paced and ever-changing environment, especially in the workforce. What would you as an organization want to address in institutions of higher learning? May each panelist kindly be reminded that they strictly have 2 minutes to respond.
Thank you. So when we talk about skills gaps, and I encourage, again, I'm recommending something we can read. It's good to talk to academics, students, academics, because they want to read. There's a lot of material that is out there that is public. And I will encourage all of us, anyone who can go to Google can Google and download the World Economic Forum Skills Report 2023. And if you look at the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report, rather, my apologies, 2023, they list the top skills as creative thinking, analytical thinking, technological literacy, curiosity and lifelong learning, resilience and flexibility, systems thinking, AI and big data, motivation and awareness, and talent management. Those are the top 9 skills. You can read the report, it's free for everyone. Go and download Future of Jobs Report 2023 by the World Economic Forum. Now, these are the skills that we need to teach and we need to all learn. So I think as institutions, whether be it universities, colleges, schools, this is what we should pivot towards. To say the future of work is saying we need creative thinkers. We need people who understand artificial intelligence. So certainly, if this is what literature is saying, as academics, let's follow what has been scientifically proven in courts in terms of research.
Thank you.
Thank you. As Public Service Commission, what the skills gap that we have observed are: 1, communication and collaboration. You'd find if you ask some students coming from colleges to write a report, there may be a lot of spelling errors and grammar, and that person will tell you, I've got a master's. So I would like to say this must be perfected so that when we receive the graduates or we recruit workers, they write, somebody said a clean one, clean page. You want clean page. And also we have observed skill gaps like ethical and social responsibility. Graduates who say, I'm coming from university, I cannot sweep, I cannot do this kind of job. So we would want to encourage our students to be part of the world and do what others do. And if you are left in an office, you can even clean for that office yourself. to be in a clean environment. And also, critical thinking and problem solving is another skill gap. That if you give an assignment to an employee or a worker, please can you do this? Because you have not guided that person up to the end. That work may not be done to satisfactory. So we would want our students coming from colleges to be able to do critical thinking and problem solving. Thank you.
Thank you for that response.
Thank you. I'm just imagining if what would have been done at my institution of learning back in the day to prepare me for the challenges that I face. And if I'm looking at the gaps, I think that if we were taught to be more entrepreneurial, I would have been better prepared for the world that I now live in. A lot of the time, academic teaching sometimes leaves you in a space where we do not know what the world needs and how to apply it and how to commercialize it. And in Africa, I think it is very important because of the high unemployment rate to develop employment creators, and being entrepreneurial should be introduced for every kind of subject, because there's always that leeway for you to commercialize whatever skill, whatever knowledge that you have. For example, in agriculture, of course, we're taught agribusiness management, but it is quite abstract. It is something that I cannot apply. How do we tie it down to the trends, to the development that are happening? How do we develop the softer skills? For example, you mentioned motivation, you mentioned critical thinking, creativity. These are the resilience. These are things that nurture your character to face the challenges. As a farmer, it needs emotional aptitude. It needs me to be strong mentally, because you go through a lot of downs and a little of ups, and you may wait for longer periods until you get a good return and to be established. How do we nurture that in university students? I've seen in Europe and most of the established institutes in the world, they have now the innovation labs. I think they are now being introduced in Zimbabwe as well. I really think this has to be part of every student. How do we make them innovative in whatever they are doing? I'll give you an example. I don't know if you are in my generation, but now one of the most popular farmers in Zimbabwe is called Terry. He's a guy on Twitter. We're talking about TikTok. He's using the power of social media to influence people into an industry that is important for humanity. So there is someone in the media space who thinks I have nothing to do with agriculture, but you can be a thought leader. You can introduce a whole generation into something they never thought about. So how can you be creative at any subject, at any level, and push on an agenda that is important for humanity? Thank you.
Thank you for that response.
Thank you. So most of the skills gaps have been mentioned, but I want to emphasize on adaptability. So this is a skill that's required, or that's now needed. If we take, for instance, with adaptability, we are looking into creativity and innovation and self-motivation. So even if you are what can I say, a human resources manager and you're working for a company in healthcare, you may need to be well vested in healthcare in conditions that are currently causing issues. So with adaptability, it's not just because you are a software engineer and you're in healthcare, then you don't know what's going on. Because in healthcare, there's a lot of, can I say, change in what's going on around diseases, around research. And with research, you will realize that there are new guidelines that are always being formed. And with us being in a resource-limited country, you need innovative individuals that will come up with innovations, new ideas, not only just for the healthcare side or the ones that offer actual, that are in touch with the patient, but those that are offering the other shared services. So coming up with new guidelines, getting into research and being interested in what's going on in the field that you are in even if you are in IT, but if you're also working for a company that has to do with health, be well informed in what is going on in terms of health. So adaptability is a skill that I would emphasize. Being self-motivated, being able to research and read wide, enjoying learning other things in different fields as well.
Thank you for that response.
Thank you very much. I think much of the skills gaps have been mentioned, but what I want to emphasize most is I've realized that out there are a number of programs that teach environment. And I'm sure even from primary up to tertiary education, people are being taught environmental issues are being mainstreamed. There are a number of people with PhDs. But what is lacking is the implementation. We've got a number of excellent researches done by master students, undergrad students, that respond to problems that we are facing, the problem of degradation, the problem of pollution, and so forth. So there seems to be a gap between what you learn here and what industry demands. So I think it's high time that as students, we need to find skills that respond to the needs of the people that are on the ground, to the needs of the poor people that are on the ground, to the needs of farmers who are on the ground. So I think that's the major gap that I've noted in most of our tertiary institutions, which I think it needs to be filled in. Thank you.
Thank you for that response.
Yeah, as it relates to the kinds of agencies that I'm working for, that applies to WHO and a lot of others, maybe the United Nations body. One of the key gaps that we've noticed are the skills to do with advocacy and negotiation, where you get someone who's a technical officer, knowledgeable about the technical programs, but when it comes to issues of talking to donors, for example, so that they can give you the required resources, there's really no technique, no skills. And as a result, they fail to sell the story for money to be brought in for particular interventions. So advocacy and negotiation, those are soft skills that are quite required. And then secondly, in broad, just the skills of undergoing an interview. What I would like to advise is wherever you are applying for a job anyway, I think you have to dig in, find out a little more about the organization or agency you want to join in, and what kind of things they look for. What we have noticed for us is when we then interview people to talk about certain competencies, the question will be very simple, but the answer will not come. For example, someone will be asked, can you tell us of a situation where you demonstrated good leadership? This person in the CV, I'm a good leader, what. But when you ask that question, they cannot answer. Can you tell us where you demonstrated teamwork? They cannot answer. So some of those things now, I think you cannot, they are not part of the usual curriculum. But somewhere, I think those things have to be talked about to prepare those who want to go out into the business out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kanyowa, and thank you to all our panelists for those impressive and insightful contributions. A round of applause for them. Please note that there will be a question and answer session at the end of the second session, so please do jot down any questions that you may have for the panelists. At this moment, we shall hand over the mic to our Director of Ceremonies, Dr. Gadzikwa, who will introduce our panelists for the second sessions. Thank you to all our panelists for the first session.
Okay, thank you, our esteemed students. The future of tomorrow, as they say. So don't live in the future too much, because it may not, sometimes it may never come. The future is now. So we are told that you go to heaven. Yes, we'll go to heaven, but we must live before we die. Okay, so let's live before we die. So thank you so much for our esteemed guests. Really, these issues are also coming out. Just summarize. It's no longer fashionable. I think Miss Dr. Mukaru can tell me. You know, when we use it, you would see those guys who were doing medicine. They were walking with an extra bounce at the campus there. But you can tell me now that there's more to just treating than health care. It's not just treating disease. There's a lot of things. Actually, someone who is not a medical practitioner can actually make more money out of, out of the medical field without even knowing, those tough, assignments that people doing medicine are given. Some of them ended up looking like deranged people and so forth. But we would tell them, no, let's come and play hockey. No, it's not the end of the world. Don't be afraid of the nyazemas, of the medicines and so forth. Life is more than that. So without much ado, we want to invite our next set of panelists. We have got Miss Chauncey. She's joining us online. I'm sure she will be the first to present. Then we have Mr. Mambende. Mr. Mambende, please, you can come and take a seat. Make yourself comfortable. We have got Mr. Chiketa. Mr. Mambende is from UNICEF, and Mr. Chiketa from Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Last time we had Dr. Mangunja here, he told us about very exciting things, but that have never happened. Dr. Mangunja is a good governor. Yeah, but he was very correct that Zimbabweans are very sensitive to any introduction of any new form of money. We are very sensitive to that. So I think they are worried about what they want to introduce, because we have been beaten several times, but now it's now or never. Then we also invite Ms. Magorimbo from Old Mutual Life Assurance Company. Then we also have Ms. Nongo from City of Mutare, where we stay here in Mutare. Just to comment, Ms. Nongo, I've been to Harare last week. The very day I arrived in Harare, I wanted to come back to Mutare. In Harare, there's congestion, there's dirty water, there's frustration, people are angry, everyone is angry in Harare. Every driver is shouting at the other, garbage is being collected, and just Emma has been defeated in Harare. Emma, they cannot do anything anymore. If you talk about Emma in Harare, they'll say, no, just buy this one, a pint of beer. He doesn't know what he's doing. So we want to applaud you. You are trying very hard in Mutare to collect the refuse, and also to make sure that we are drinking water. I wanted to open a business of selling, this pegged water, but I realized that in Mutare you will not make money because people drink the tap water and they think it's nice. Then we have, of course, Ms. Chiyangwa from the Council of Social Workers. There are a lot of social work students here, and so you have a big constituency, but you are training for you. Most of them are going to Europe to take care of other people. leaving our mothers suffering here. I think we have to introduce Ubuntu in the training of social work so that at least who is going to take care of our mothers when they are taking, of course, but they are taking care of humanity, and we want to applaud you for that. So welcome, Ms. Chauncey. We give you 5 minutes to present to us, to tell us about your organization. So over to you, Ms. Chauncey. Okay. So that's the advantage of technology.
You can hear me well?
Yes, loud and clear.
We can hear you. Thank you so much. Afternoon to you too. Afternoon. So my name is Jess Chonzi. I'm the Regional Industry Manager for Financial Institutions Group. So I look after IFC's investments in banks and non-bank financial institutions across Eastern Africa, and I'm based in Nairobi. So I work for a group called World Bank Group. It is the largest international development organization, which is owned by over 187 countries. And the group really has twin goals. The first one being to reduce poverty, and the target is to reduce it to less than 3% by 2030. And then the second one is to boost shared prosperity and foster income growth to the bottom 40% of the population. So IFC is a member of the World Bank Group and has over 60 years experience in unlocking private sector investments, creating markets and opportunities where they are needed most. So I guess I'll just talk briefly about the group itself. We have over 30,000 employees, so we're running very close behind Public Commission. We have over 100 offices. There's over 180 nationalities, and I'm glad that Zimbabwe is well represented, and over 120 languages that are spoken within the group. So why should you work with us? If basically we have a meaningful mission, so if you want to become part of the generation that will end extreme poverty, then this is a group that you might want to consider. It is a multicultural and very diverse workplace, and with truly extraordinary teams of over 150 nationalities, like I mentioned earlier on. It provides global opportunities because our offices are in over 100 offices across the globe. So you can transverse from one part of the continent to another, but also you can work across a number of sectors. So with IFC, our areas of expertise really are around agribusiness, education. We look at infrastructure, manufacturing, energy, mining and metals, public-private partnerships. We also do financial institutions, like I mentioned, health, telecom, media, technology. We look at tourism, retail, and property. So I think there is scope and space for all manner of programs that are being hosted at Africa University. And maybe just for you to understand, there's a couple of ways that you can come into the organization. So I will probably just share a presentation later on with Tsungi. But 4 ways you can join. We have an internship program and pathway, and all our information is available on our website. We have certain programs like the Young Professional Program. We also have consultancy work where you can either do part-time consultancy or you can do a 1 to 2 year extended term consultancy. And then you can also join as a full-time staff member. So having said that, I think that's about all in terms of the organization. If I'm going to respect my 5 minutes, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sticking to the time limits. Sure. So we'll stay tuned. We will have questions after the others is presented. I'm sure you'll be still with us. So those who have questions, can you have them down? And also now, let me call upon Mr. Mambende from UNICEF.
Good afternoon. I know it's the afternoon session, but if you can give me a little bit of energy. Good afternoon, colleagues. Yeah, I think it's a very important day. It's not every day that you get to see people from the industry sharing their experiences with students and giving the opportunity to students who are future leaders of tomorrow, sitting in the same room, sharing experiences, sharing their views. So I think it's a very special day today. I think you should give AU leadership and student leadership a round of applause for organizing for this day. My name is Simbarashe Mambende, and I'm representing UNICEF. UNICEF is part of the UN family. My colleague from the WHO just spoke about UN. So as UNICEF, our mandate is we work with children, children's rights, children's welfare. That's our mandate. We also work with youth and adolescents, girls and boys. So we are humbled and honored to be invited to such an event. For my 5 minutes, I prepared to talk to you about 3 modalities that we have in the UN, specifically for UNICEF, that equip you as young leaders of tomorrow. We are talking about the future of work, so you are the future of our leaders. So I prepared to talk to you about 3 programs that we have that you can take advantage of as students. And I also prepared a little bit of time to talk about the assessments that we use to get the best person for the job. So I'll speak briefly about it. But firstly, I want to talk about the internship program that we have within UNICEF, where we aim to equip young people like yourself with the opportunity to put the education experience that you have to the work assignment that we have within UNICEF. So that's one modality that we have. We also have the UNV, United Nations volunteers. These can be categorized as national volunteers, and under this we have got your experts. You can be an expert and volunteer to work with the UN. You can be a specialist and volunteer to work with the UN. You can be youth like yourself. We also work with students from universities, like most of you here. And we work with the communities. So these are opportunities that you as students, I felt I should share with you, and you take the most of that to partner with us, to collaborate with UNICEF. Secondly, you can work as an international volunteer, where you don't work in your specific country. From the VC, you mentioned that we also have students that are coming from other nationalities. So as an international volunteer, you can work in other countries, not specifically the country that you come from. The last one that I want to talk about is the junior professional officers. I think my colleague already mentioned about it. So it's a program that focuses mainly on youth like yourself, where as UNICEF we want to give you the experiences, give you the exposure in the field in terms of what you can do. Lastly, I want to talk a bit about the assessments that we use as UNICEF, so that as you prepare, if you're invited for an UN interview or UNICEF, you need to know the things that you need to prepare for. So as UNICEF, we use competence-based approach, which is an approach where we look at your past experiences and behavior. And this approach is premised on the fact that if you have done it in the past, there is high probability, there is high chance that you do it in the future that we're talking about. So there are a couple of competencies that you as students, you have to develop. And like I said, it's important that we've got institutions like AU that are preparing their students to the world of work. So the competencies, they've already been discussed. I'm not going to repeat, but all the soft skills that we've talked about in the morning session, I think they are very, very important for students to talk about. If you are going to forget everything that I've said, that the panelists have talked about in the morning, I want you to take this key takeaway, that as a student, if you're given an opportunity, make sure that you do everything possible to do that task to the best of your ability. It gives you a sense of fulfillment as a student, as a person, but also it prepares you for future opportunities, and opportunities always favor the prepared. I want to stop here and thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, UNICEF. This is for you students, competence-based approach. If you can do it today, you can do it tomorrow. I think it's quite loaded. You didn't want to unpack that, but I think you can unpack it yourself. If you misbehaved yesterday, you will misbehave tomorrow. So the image that is sold to us yesterday is the image for the future. So be very careful about what you do today. It's not like the old days where we say life is like photography. We develop from the negatives. No. It has changed. So in photography, remember photography of the year, you had what we called negatives. Then you develop the picture. So we don't do that. We learn from your history, becomes very, very important. We learn from your past to predict your future. So we call upon Mr. Chiketa from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe.
If you don't clap well, I can speak for an hour. Thank you very much. I get paid for talking or speaking, so I do it for a living. So yeah, Chairperson, you can remove the restrictions on my time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate the leadership of the university. I also want to appreciate and all of us for gathering here. Allow me to also appreciate the panelists that we have gone before us. It's very key that we talk about career issues because some of us went to do programs without knowing what they were all about. And we completed those programs. And today I'm happy to be here to speak to future leaders of our nation, future leaders of various industries in our country. I would say to you, the Reserve Bank is set by statute, by the Reserve Bank Act, and it has got many functions, among them to produce currency of the nation, to also advise and also bank government, and we also bank the banking sector. We are the lender of last resort. I always joke about this at the bank, and I say we are the lender of last resort, but the employer of first resort. So we want to thank all of you. You can join us in various programs. We run a graduate development program, which is a robust program where we take on graduates from various fields, people in economics, people in finance, people in HR, people in marketing, people in public relations can join us in various areas that we are. Also, people in technical disciplines will also run technical side of things. Financial intelligence is also part of what we do. ICT has become one of the critical things in this environment. When we talk about the future of jobs, we are talking about what technology is doing to what we do, and I enjoyed it when my brother Calvin was talking about the power of technology. I always challenge people and say, in the very near future, you will see your neighbor cooking using your stove, and without seeking your permission, because of where technology is taking us. And one authority says that we need to run as fast as we can to remain where we are. That shows you that the level of traction happening in the environment around technology is quite high. And it was also exciting to see my entrepreneur brother, talking about the power of technology in agriculture. And one thing I would say to us, beyond what the bank does, as I'm talking to you, is our education system has been developing people to be ready to be employed. But I also want to align with what you were saying. I was at NAST the other year, and I was talking to say we need to do more entrepreneurship and prepare ourselves. Some of us should come out of this university straight away, set up something. Technology is rising. As I was looking into the balance of payments in the country and looking at statistics that are coming out of the central bank around issues to do with money that we are sending outside, importing services, technological services and other services, I was just saying to myself, something has to happen. And it has to happen not with us old people, it has to be happening with the youths that are being developed to say, what are we going to do about the demands that industry are looking for, and what we can provide in terms of the supply side of the people as we develop them in universities and release them into the environment. So it's very critical. Let's prepare ourselves to do something different and something that is going to add value to the nation. I thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd actually given you your hour, but you didn't take it. So it's okay. Thank you for that. We now call upon Ms. Magorimbo.
Good afternoon to you, everyone. So I'm here representing Old Mutual. I think earlier speakers were talking about how old their institutions were. So Old Mutual was founded in 1845 at the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa, making it just under 180 years old. In Zimbabwe, our first office was in 1895. So we will be celebrating 130 years operating in Zimbabwe. Why that is important, say you were talking about being bitten and whatnot. Yes, we have survived it all. So it speaks to the resilience and adaptability of Old Mutual. We have survived 2 world wars, a war of liberation, hyperinflation, and I think soon we'll be having ZIG. We will adapt, my regulator sitting right here. So I think it speaks to an organization that is very adaptable. So Old Mutual in Zimbabwe, we have a number of companies, a life assurance company, which is one of the bigger businesses, doing pensions and risk. The pension side, it is the cornerstone of the economy. I'm sure most of you who do economics know that long-term savings are the backbone of any economic growth. So I think for me right now, I'll be calling on you youngsters, because as the MC has said, a lot of the pensioners are very disgruntled on TalkTick and all the other Twitter. But I think what's important and what recruiters look for is that voice of reason to say, yes, we've been bitten, we've fallen, but as a nation, do we stay down? So I think that's one of the things we'll be looking at, to see those progressive minds on those social media platforms that speak to economic growth. So apart from the life assurance business that gathers the assets, we do have an asset management business who do the investments. We are into green energy, the gentleman who was talking about climate change. If you Google Old Mutual, I'm sure you'll see that we've done quite a number of hydroelectric power stations. We've got solar farms. We're into student accommodation, tourism. All these investments are really earmarked at seeing how we can kickstart the Zimbabwean economy, create the jobs that you're also after, and also make space for the entrepreneurs. So we've got a banking arm, CABS, which does lending both to corporates and individuals, and we are looking for the entrepreneurs. If you've got a good business case, we do have funds available to help you expand on your business. We've got custodial services, and the new kids on the block at the moment would be Omari. I'm sure you've all heard about it. So in line with the changing landscape, we've also entered that space and are looking to make sure that we bring the unbanked back into the formal sector. We've got a funeral assurance services business, also just been recently formed. So as I said, any profession, from the mortician to the engineer to the social worker, Old Mutual will give you a home. Thank you.
Yeah, Old Mutual is an old institution indeed. As the name said it. Because the other mutuals, I think you know about them, but some I'm saying with the first mutual, before Old Mutual, I don't know which one is the one, but Old Mutual, very old, survived the hyperinflation. I'm not sure about that, whether you survived hyperinflation or whether you are going to survive ZIG. We want really to understand what is ZIG and so forth. What is this? Is it some football star or some blockbuster movie star or something like that? So thank you for that, Old Mutual, of your presentation. 1895, you were in Zimbabwe. So yeah, really old, because our people started eating white sadza in 1899 when the grinding mill arrived. So you arrived here before the grinding mill. So you are very old indeed. So we call upon Mrs. Nongo from city of Mutare, the ones who are keeping us well here in Mutare. Yeah. Over to you.
Thank you, ED. By ED, I mean the events director. You should not think otherwise. Good afternoon, everyone. I've been mentioning my name for a very long time since morning. I'm Mercy from city of Mutare. I was just thinking, ED, when I entered those doors some 23 years ago to have the matriculation ceremony in this chapel, I had no idea why I had chosen to study psychology here, because probably at the time we were just going to school to finish that stage that you should go to school. But we didn't know why we were going. We didn't know what we wanted to do after that. There was no social capital like what we have now through LinkedIn, through TalkTik, and other platforms that we can learn, and especially like this platform that you have created, Media Manunure, to ensure that your students get the career guidance that they require. I only got to know that there was a biggest recruiter in Zimbabwe after I had graduated, because I didn't know I could just go to Public Service Commission, fill in a form, and then I can start work. However, I started working. My first job was in the public service, and I moved through organizations, public and private, to be where I am today. So I really want to appreciate the step that you have taken, and it also shows that we are moving. Technology, things are moving as well from the 2 decades ago to today. So going back to city of Mutare, by the way, ED, I'm a 2-time graduate of Africa University. I was hoping to do my doctorate, but you couldn't offer what I wanted, so I had to move. And I hope our choir will sing the dream for us if they are available. I don't know if that song is still available. on your playlist. If you could do that for us. Thank you. City of Mtare, where I am coming from, where I'm representing, it's a city that was formed, it became a city in 1971, and it was a town in 1914. The City of Mtare is a creature of statute as an urban local authority that is created in terms of the Constitution and is governed by the Urban Councils Act. We, as the City of Mtare, we have got 19 wards that are represented by 19 councillors, and we also have 6 other councillors from the proportional representation side to make them 25 in total. And council is governed by councillors as a board headed by the mayor, who is elected amongst other councillors. And we have got senior and executive management and departments of council. As a service provision institution, we have got several areas. I'm sure we all know the services that council provides: water, roads, refuse collection, housing, stands, accommodation across town. So those are some of the departments that form part of council, headed by HODs and our HR, to recruit you, our prospective employees, our interns. We also take volunteers. Even after graduation, if you feel like you need to come and volunteer your services as well as learn from us, we also take. So those are the areas that we look into. Maybe just to tell you to elaborate on what the ED was alluding to in terms of what we have accomplished as a council. We pride ourselves in providing the cleanest water in the country. We don't use a lot of chemicals like Harare City does. I think Harare City uses 42 or so chemicals to purify their water. We only use less than 5 chemicals for us to purify our water. And we provide water to our residents on a daily basis, on average 21 to 22 hours a day. But in Harare, you can go for 22 days without water. Of course, in some areas in our town, they get water 24 hours, but this is just an average to cater for the other areas that do not get water 24 hours a day. We are, in terms of corporate governance issues, we are one of the local authorities that has created what are called the integrity committees, which are assisting us to mitigate issues of risk and corruption. We know we can never eradicate it, but we can at least mitigate corruption levels. And we are about to sign the integrity pledges so that we can be the yardstick in terms of integrity. So to those who would want to join us, we implore you to maintain those status integrity. I would leave you with these words. Wherever you go, if someone asks you what is integrity, you should understand that integrity is when you are in the middle of the wherever in the forest or in the rural areas with a road, you see a robot, a traffic light, where there are no cars at all and the traffic light is red. Integrity is when you stop until the light turns green for you to go. Not saying because there are no cars, it's in the middle of nowhere, there's no traffic, so let me just pass. That is integrity, and that is what we are looking for in our students who come for attachment, internship, graduate learning, and even our future employees. Thank you.
Thank you so much, State of Mutare, and for clarifying that I'm the events director, not the ED that people know, because you can get me into deep trouble. So thank you so much for your presentation. Now we call upon Ms. Chiangwa from Council of Social Workers. Ms. Chiangwa.
Good afternoon. Maybe just to hear from the house, do we have social workers in the house? Are you there? All right, because my presentation wouldn't make sense if there was no social worker in the house, okay? So I'm Lisa Chiangwa, and I'm from the Council of Social Workers. So the Council of Social Workers is a regulatory board which draws its power from the Social Workers Act, Chapter 27.21. So what it simply means in summary is after you're done with your studies, you're supposed to register as a social worker. And we may not be the biggest recruiter like some of us today, but what I can assure you today is once you're done with your studies, you will have to register with the Council of Social Workers. So in terms of our recruitment trends, as the Council of Social Workers, we have what we call the board. So the person who gets into the board is someone, of course, who studied social work. So today, my presentation is a little biased towards those who are studying social work. So those who are not studying social work today, you may forgive me for that. So number one, we've got the board that is appointed by the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare. So the board is enacted, and some members of the board are elected as well. So we've got representation from various provinces, and I'm yet to see one person from Africa University. So this is to challenge you as well, those who are studying towards social work, for you to know and understand what it means to be part of the board, okay? So after you're done, keep in touch with me, of course, and with the Council of Social Workers News, so that you will be able to know when you can apply to be a board member and when you can be voted for. So, as a social worker, there are various regulations that you should know. Number one, I've mentioned the Social Workers Act, Chapter 27.21, and we do have the Code of Ethics, SI 146 of 2012. What it simply means is, as a social worker, you're bound by some ethics. So if you break any of those, you know what it means, you will be deregistered. So whilst you were there, I'll mention about the issue of a criminal record if you're studying social work. Make sure your record is clean. And I'm happy I'm at Africa University today because this is a Christian-based university. And we pride ourselves as social workers. We say we are Christ-like. So make sure your record is clean for you to be registered, because when you then intend to register, we will check and we will definitely need the police clearance for you to register. Then we do have registration bylaws. I'm happy the issue of technology was mentioned here before by the other speakers. So you can go onto the internet today and you can search for all these acts. Alternatively, you can look for me. You can look for me after this session. And it's unfortunate that today we don't have a stand. But I know if you're a social worker, you know this is our Social Workers Month. And next week, Tuesday, on the 19th of March, we're going to be having a World Social Work Day. And if you need more information, come to Harare. I'm sure you were invited, and we will be meeting as social workers from Zimbabwe. And this is not only to limit social workers who are Zimbabweans, but also to look at the cultural diversity that AU has. Even if you're from Malawi, Tanzania, you name it, you'll be able to register with us even after you've studied at Africa University. Then 5 minutes is a few time. I can never exhaust everything. But let me just end here because I have a lot to say, so we can always meet after this session, and hopefully you're going to ask me questions which will benefit you as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Let's not live in our numbers. Let's not vote with our feet. We are about to wind up. So we call upon the moderators to direct the questions to the panelists. So this question and answer is very important, but that's where you get the pertinent questions answered. So don't leave, please. We have bride after this, so the rule is that we are going to give the bride tickets to the people who are in here. So if you're out, no ticket for bride. Text to your friends to come back so that you give them the tickets for the bride. Otherwise, we'll be eating, feasting and taking some of it home.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. Once again, we are your moderators. My name is Mande, and this is Mr. Keith Zambo. We are student ambassadors. We belong to the School of Law and the College of CBPLG, respectively.
So far, we've had quite an impressive session this morning, and let us guarantee to expect nothing less this afternoon. With us present are the men and women that potentially decide if your 10-year plan materializes. These are your mentors and Zimbabwe and the world at large finest recruiters.
These are the men and women who have reached the tippy top of their careers. They are the creme de la creme of their organizations, and they are here to impart gems with you so that one day you too can attest to such blessings and acclaims. Right here, in this very present moment, is where the making, the molding, the panel beating to consistency takes place. So please, do pay attention, ask questions, seek answers, interact, and remember that your network is your net worth.
Please allow us to reintroduce to you our second set of panelists. We first have Mrs. J. Chonzi from the World Bank, Mr. S. Mambende from UNICEF, Mr. C. Shiteka from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, Mrs. R. Magorimbo from Old Mutual, Mrs. M. Nyongo from the City of Mutare, and Mrs. L. Chinyangwa, Council of Social Workers.
Without wasting much of your time, we'll get into our questions. May all panelists kindly be reminded that they have 2 minutes to answer their questions. This session will be a bit different. We will have the first 3 panelists, who are Ms. Chonzi, Mr. Bambende, and Mr. Chiketa, answering the first question. Then Mrs. Mugorimbo, Mrs. Nonga, and Mrs. Chiangwa answering the second question.
So the first question is, what are other professional associations that students become members of to further their professional growth? And what are some benefits of joining such professional associations for students?
We'll begin with you, Ms. Chonzi.
Thank you very much. So maybe I'll start with the second part of the question in terms of why should you be a member of a network association. So really, these professional associations usually host boards and recruitment events and help you to connect with members with job opportunities. There's also a growing trend of employers who require membership for mid and senior management of finance-related or non-finance related associations. So as someone said earlier on, your network is your net worth. So this is an opportunity for you to start to develop that network. Then for early career professionals, like most of the graduates coming out of university with relevant academic background, the certification programs really help to validate your technical competence and smoothen your transition into your new field. So that's also a critical aspect. But I think the other thing is, apart from some of the foundational courses that they provide, there is generally a lifelong access to technical resources, insights, changing industry trends, emerging opportunities, changes in regulatory frameworks, which really help you as members to maintain relevance and your competitive edge within the markets. So some of those that I can maybe recommend, given my field, so please excuse my limitation. The Chartered Financial Analyst, particularly useful for asset management and securities trading roles. There's ACA, I think it's well known, and CPA for those that are in the financial and accounting space. We have the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. So I'll stop here for now, and I'm sure my fellow panelists also have more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chonzi. I'll now pass the floor to Mr. Mambende.
Thank you very much, Keith. I think just to echo the first presenter, and without repeating what she has said, I think professional associations play a critical role in the growth and development of students, future leaders, even some of us that are in the field. So the associations, they don't only provide students with opportunities to engage with respective leaders in the industry that you want to pursue your career. But it is a networking platform where you can create networks, where you can learn, where you can also get the opportunity to be mentored. I think mentorship for people like students, it's very key, it's very important. You are engaging with someone who has the experience, who has walked the road before. So some of the mistakes that you can make, you can always avoid those mistakes. So in my field, in the human resources, I would recommend IPMZ, and I'm glad that Ms. Chiketa is here and is more qualified to talk more in terms of the IPMZ. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chiketa.
Thank you very much. Professional associations are very critical in the development of our professions. And my brother has shared about the Institute of People Management of Zimbabwe, which is our national association for HR professionals. In the banking sector, we have the Institute of Bankers. In the marketing space, we have Marketers Association of Zimbabwe. One thing I would say, I would give a quick testimony of my life. I got my first job at an IPM convention. What happened is IPM ran a competition to support people that were not that would want to attend the convention. I responded to the questions, and then I won to go and attend the convention soon after college. And then as I was inside the auditorium like this one, the convention is running, on the last day, I felt like someone who had presented, people had not agreed with them in their presentation, but to me, what they had said was going to make professionals in HR develop and make contributions to their organizations. I then raised my hand to comment, and soon after commenting that on that presentation, someone started looking for me just by commenting on a presentation. I didn't apply. They looked for me. They said, "We listened to your comment and we think you should join us." So they looked for me. They didn't know me. Someone then said they knew someone who was talking to me, and they started looking for me, and I got my first job. So to me, professional associations are very critical. They provide a platform for mentorship. They provide a platform for networking. They also provide depth for you to connect with the professional. Just thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that testimony, Mr. Chiketa. Our follow-up question for the next panelist is, how have the evolving expectations of companies changed in terms of what they look for in employees as compared to 20 years ago?
Thank you. I think one of the key things that we're now looking for is the ability to adapt and to think outside the box. So 20 years ago, I think life was a bit more stable, and we've seen the rapid change both in technology and perhaps even economic volatility. So we need people who can actually think outside the box and use what they have learned in college to develop something new. We also need people who are able to communicate and work across different cultures, because we are now in a global village, so you'll be, whichever company you work with, more or less they will need to communicate with others outside of the country, different regions and different cultures, so you need to be able to communicate.
Thank you very much for that response.
Thank you. To add on to that, I think 20 years ago, the importance was really placed on paper to say you have graduated from Africa University and you should take a job. But look at today, everyone almost possesses that qualification. What we now need, we are all Mercedes-Benz at the moment. So we need one amongst the rest of the cars that can move faster than the others, to showcase your soft skills, to showcase your artificial intelligence, your communication skills, your integrity, character as it stands. You may have all the qualifications, but if you don't have the right character that suits the organization, then you might perish. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response.
Thank you. I'll just use 10 seconds of my time to tell the future social workers that we do have an association, and it is called National Association of Social Workers. You can register as student and even after you've graduated. So I just thought that is important for them to know. And all of a sudden, the world is taking an interest on social work. For what reason, we don't know. And that has created social workers to become like a one family. So we do have the world, we do have the globe. I'm studying in Zimbabwe, but I'll end up in the UK in the next 10 years. And that requires technology. I'll give an example of what we see when you're recruiting future social workers for attachment. You may see an email address that is like written like sexybabe@gmail.com, sorry to say. But it does something to the recruiter. You have to be professional, you have to know how to communicate, not only in Shona, but in English as well, not only to a fellow South African, but to someone who is in the UK. So in as much as we're used to us social workers being behind the desk, offering counseling to someone who just walks into the office, now it requires us to be online. You need to know how to operate Zoom. So 20 years ago, we didn't have that. 20 years ago, the Public Service Commission didn't have an online platform, but now in 2024, they do have one. So that requires you to just have those soft skills, the know-how on how to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, panelists, for those responses. At this moment, we will yield back the mic to Dr. Gadzikwa. I was about to call him Mr. Gadzikwa, but I remember he once took off 5 marks from my presentation for calling him Mr. Gadzikwa instead of Dr. Gadzikwa. So apologies. Dr. Gadzikwa. He actually didn't, but he threatened to remove them. Can you kindly take over for the question and answer session? Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I never took anything away from you. You see what the TikTok people can do? They can do anything. I know we are about to finish. I'm inviting 4 questions from the floor to our panelists. If there are any questions, any clarifications, what you want to get from them, they are here. Remember, the Vice Chancellor says the angels are here. So it's a real opportunity to speak to angels. Angels don't just appear. I'm sure you can fast for, some people are fasting here for the whole month. The angels don't come in. So we didn't fast, but the angels are here by the grace of God. So any questions? Oh. Yes. Can someone help with the mic, please? Yeah, there's a question there. I would have been surprised if there were no questions. Remember at one Congress where they wanted to elect a challenger to President Mugabe. The then chairman, we're coming there, John Ngomo just said, anyone for the president? Just there being no one, the president is elected. So, okay, you can have your question. Your name and your question.
All right, my name is Spectacular Gumbira. I'm a second-year student studying international relations. So my question is directed to Mem from the city of Mutare. What is the council doing to address issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion in its workforce? Are there flexible positions for volunteerism, internship, or employment by non-citizens in the council, considering AU has a cultivar of nationals and one might desire to be engaged with you, whether long-term or short-term? Is there a procedure different from that of a national of Zimbabwe, from that of an international from any other African country?
Thank you. There's a hand here, okay.
My name is Anot Daishe. I'm studying accounting, second year. Let's say I'm doing social work and I have a previous criminal record, but that's not defining me anymore. Is there any way I can get a chance in this industry, the social work industry, now that I have mark on my record?
Okay, she's asking for another chance. Can we have the mic over there? There's another hand here again. Yeah, there are so many hands now, which is encouraging.
Thank you very much. I'm Elisha Manirama, a PhD student. I'd like to ask this question beside of UNICEF, and World Health Organization. We have talked to, as a Vice Chancellor said that our community have got more than 28 nationalities. So are you going to accommodate other students? For example, like
maybe move the mic a little bit close to you.
For example, like the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe said that you've got a graduate program. Are you going to accommodate other nationalities? And also, I'd like to talk to the Zimbabwe Farmers Union. The man was talking about entrepreneurship, was mentioned things like robots and so forth. I think now is the time to adapt even to smart agriculture, because what we're doing 20 years ago now, they're not working. So I would like to find out if, like those youth that are interested to engage into those entrepreneurship, are you going to assist them with the seed capitals? Because you know that as people have finished school, they don't have financial to start their businesses. Even the bank can't take them because they don't have collateral and so forth. Lastly, with Emma, I'd like to find out, this one is not a career, it's about, you say that you are involved in the land degradation. I'm not sure that you are aware about mining is happening around AU. Right now, as I'm talking, our pivot irrigation is not working because the Mutare River that you talk about now is dirty. When you get into pivot irrigation, now there are stones and so forth. And now the farmer now, the agriculture student now, we are watering with our bucket. So I don't know, you were saying that you give environment and license to those people. What are you doing with those miners? Thank you.
Okay, hold on to those questions. I think there have been so many questions. We give an opportunity for answer, to give the responses before we take some others, okay? Who do we start with? Who wants to start? The first question was for Okay, Mutare, we go. Please answer your questions. I don't. Okay, you can use this one.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. I would respond by saying, as council, we have got policies around recruitment, and we endeavor to really comply and stick to our policies, what they indicate. Of course, we get to review our policies because policies need to be reviewed as times evolve. And currently, we also have a gender policy to look into those issues of inclusivity. If you have noted, most of our job adverts, they state that Mutare City is an equal opportunity employer. We really take care of those areas. In terms of other nationalities, considering that we have students from all over Africa here at Africa University, I wish to inform you that we indeed take students on attachment who would apply, and I believe students who are learning at this institution are here legally, therefore also take them abiding by the laws of Zimbabwe in terms of engaging students, workers, and so forth. So we really do. I have got examples of students that we had in the social sciences recently from Congo, and the other one was from Angola. So we really do take, and we endeavor in sticking to the dictates of the law in terms of our recruitment.
Okay, thank you. Social work, another chance, or you are either hell or heaven. Is it how you work?
Well, thank you for the question. I'll start by saying, avoid to commit a crime by all means necessary. Although we may register you after an assessment of what really transpired when you committed that particular crime, and at times you will not be crucified for the rest of your life. But however, it depends with the nature of the crime. Let me just remind all of us in here that the type of clients that we work with are vulnerable in courts. So for example, we are dealing with children, and you have committed a rape offense, for example. Do we really trust that particular social worker behind the desk to cater for the needs of the children? Do we trust someone maybe who had committed a gender-based violence offense, who has maybe committed murder at the West? Do we trust that particular social worker with our clients? So in conclusion, let me just say it depends with the nature of the crime, but let us avoid crime by all means necessary, because a police clearance is requested for you to register. Thank you.
Okay, we go to ZFU, then Emma. I think Emma will be interesting.
Thank you very much. That's an interesting question. But if you remember my presentation, I was saying there are new challenges. There are emerging challenges. The country is saying, let's build a 12 billion economy out of the minerals, including the gold, you know, and we have changed names from illegal to artisanal. So if we are still stuck in the traditional mode, these are illegal, you remain behind. But like what I said, I think it's high time that we need solutions. We need to come up with innovative solutions to this current problem. How do we then get the water out of the river without using a bucket? And make sure that that water is safe for our crops. It's true that mining has presented very huge challenges. That is a country, not Emma only, and yourself. We are struggling with the level of pollution that is in our rivers. It's very correct. Despite, it's not that what we are seeing, nothing is being done. Efforts are being done, but somehow it needs more innovation in terms of how we then navigate through the problems that we are facing. Thank you.
Okay, ZFU.
Okay, thank you. On issues of seed capital, so Zimbabwe Farmers Union is a network and an association of farmers. So it's more of your professional network for farmers. So it does not have the capacity by itself to finance innovations by young people. But having an organized army of young people now, what has happened is that many of the financiers also approached the Zimbabwe Farmers Union seeking for those different innovators within our space. For example, I'll give example of our vice chairperson for the youth. He's actually an innovator in the poultry space, who has worked with, for example, SNV, who has worked with IFAD, and has been funded through those platforms. And I'm also happy that one of our provincial chairpersons for Manicaland was actually part of a hub, I think that is under Old Mutual, and is now the face of some of their projects. We are into banana processing, or into banana powder, banana flour, and all those things. It is actually a member of our Zimbabwe Farmers Union. We have had partnerships with EU Trans-DVC program in the poultry space, beef space, goat space. So what happens is that most of the organizations in Zimbabwe, when they are looking for farming-related young people, they come and approach the biggest organization that has all of those. So that's one of the benefits of being part of Zimbabwe Farmers Union. It's an organized group, so everyone is looking for an organized pool of young people who are agripreneurs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think there was a question for RBZ, whether you take people from other nationalities, and also whether you are going to fund agriculture. I'm adding that one.
Okay, thank you. I think my sister Mercy has responded well on the employment of international students. I think we have not taken anyone so far because we have not had people who have applied from international crop on the attachment side. On the employment side, there are also laws around permits, and because generally when you want to employ expatriates, you have to justify why you want to employ them. It's not a problem for us where there are opportunities for that. We can always do that, but there has to be the legal issues having been met. We value diversity, and it's critical for us. Thank you.
So maybe for attachment you can take, because these students are here legally.
Yes, we can.
So here it is. Students, let's go and look for attachment to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe.
Please proceed.
Let's go and learn everything and enjoy from the expertise of Mr. Shikeja. I hope all questions have been answered, isn't it? Let me be a dictator here. You know, there's democracy which you like so much, which doesn't exist. Autocracy which you don't like but exists. And also dictatorship which you don't like but exists. So there are many ways in people rule. There's dictatorial development, dictatorial non-development. So I'm dictatorial and developmental at the same time. So I think you like me. So if our guests will be with us, they stand. Students, you are free to go there and ask all the questions that you have. You can even take their contacts and ask them tomorrow if you remember something. Maybe I can call upon the student representative ISS3 to come here with the gift. Who is helping us? Can you come, please? We want to first but not last, but we are just doing it in order. We want to give Mr. Mambende. Mr. Mambende, please. Oh, you. Okay, I think think there's something special about that bag. They're looking for it. Thank you so much, Mr. Mambende, for gracing us. We are blessing you. You never leave Africa University the way you came. We'll make sure that then we go to our Director of Human Resources, Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, Mr. Chiketa. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Also, we want to remember you very well in our archives. Of course, I expected you to smile a bit, but it was okay. We have Ms. Magoribo. Now you're smiling. Okay, from Old Mutual. Yes, that's a beautiful smile. Then Mrs. Nongo, our alumni. Can we have a round of applause for our alumni? She gave me a new name today. Thank you, Ms. Nongo. Then we have Ms. Yangwa. Please forgive me, I stole something, but I want to be a social worker. I stole Dolly from my grandmother. Thank you, Ms. Yangwa. Then we have Mr. Dr. Kanyoa from the World Health Organization. Thank you, sir, for coming and talking to us. It's been good to be with you. Okay. Then we have Dr. Chitotombe. I'm sure very soon our problem of artisanal miners will be solved around campus. Thank you, Dr. Chitotombe. Dr. Mukaro. Thank you for coming. So, Simas Sinarare is in demand racer. But why don't you come and work at Simas Mutare here? Okay. We'll make sure that you are transferred. Then we have got Mr. Nari, inspired to change our world from Econet. Then we have I wanted to say something with Mr. Matutike. I'm suggesting something, if you can take it on board, maybe to change the name of your farm to Big Blackwood Farm, not Little Blackwood Farm, so that it gets bigger. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Then, last but not least, my employer, my former boss, the biggest employer, which is the Public Service Commission. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing us. We value your time, all of you who are here. I want to give this opportunity to the SRC representative to give us the vote of thanks. SRC representative, can we give him a round of applause? These are the people who have organized this workshop for us. Without them, we are nothing.
Thank you very much. Our student moderators mentioned something about conversations of the future. And this is a conversation that a significant number of us in this very room think about. And the biggest question that brings us so much worry is, what will my future be like? Will I be successful and achieve my dreams? And particularly with the advent of emerging technologies, such as AI, the biggest question is, will I still be relevant to work in the industry that I want to be in? Now, these questions are the ones that necessitated this very event that we are gathered here for. As we understand that one of the ways, or one of the proven ways rather, of dealing with worry, besides prayer, is being informed. And I'm pleased to say that as students, we've been blessed to have such an amazing panel of speakers to share far much more about the future of work, and more importantly, from the recruiter's point of view. I'm extremely grateful to our guest speaker, Dr. Simango from the African Union. His very presence here speaks to our Pan-African vision as an institution, and Africa University being the melting pot where African leaders have conversations on Africa. Thank you so much for emphasizing on the need for us as AU students to market ourselves on any platform we get, and for touching on key values that we should uphold in any workplace, such as the theology of work, which is something new to me. Ladies and gentlemen, the people here are the ones who are going to hire you for your attachment, for those of us in first, second, and third year. And then for those of us who are looking to graduate in a couple of months' time, these are the very same industry powerhouses that will give you that dream job that you so desire. With this in mind, I would like to say a huge thank you to you, our panelists. I'd like to say a huge thank you to you, our panelists, for an insightful discussion as we get to really understand what it means to be in the workforce, both from a public point of view and even in a private point of view. A lot of you are mentioning how technology is key in your future and the different areas that you were talking about. And I'm just here to represent some of the students that you shall need as I'm pursuing an IT-related degree. So as you were mentioning about the future, I was seeing myself in your futures. I would also like to say a huge thank you to our wonderful student moderators, Ms. Rumbizo Sande and Mr. Keith Sambo, for an excellent execution, really, in directing the conversation. And they were under the guidance, of one of the coolest lawyers I know, Mr. Maposa. So yeah, let's give them a round of applause, please. I would also like to thank our Vice Chancellor, our Deputy Vice Chancellor, and the entire Executive Cabinet for giving us as students the opportunity to come up with such an event in collaboration with the Career Advising and Professional Development Office, led by Ms. Manunure, and Education USA, led by Ms. Chiduko. Thank you for being more intentional in promoting student development and preparing for the future to make sure that the Africa University student is competitive on a global stage. I'm also grateful to all the companies that are exhibiting today, that have come through, and even all the faculty and staff from the university who have contributed to the success of this event. Lastly, I would like to say a huge thank you to you, the amazing student body, for coming through to the 2024 job fair. As the Vice Chancellor always says, such events are for us as students. And I'm so happy to see all your beautiful faces in this chapel as you seek to understand more about the job trends right from the industry experts themselves. Thank you for your passion for personal growth and for your participation today. I definitely look forward to such beneficial events, and again, let's not forget to network with our industry experts. My name is Jeffrey Takunda Mulungweni, and I'm a second-year computer science student, and I'm eternally grateful to be standing here representing the students who were involved in bringing this event to life for the benefit of the student union at large. This includes all the student event organizers, our amazing ushers, the ever fantastic AU choir, for the wonderful singing as always. Once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. Until we meet again, I hand this time back to our fantastic facilitator, our ED. And with this, I say thank you, Tatenda, Siavonga, merci beaucoup, obrigado, asante sana. Thank you.
Hi guys, how are you? My name is Priska Manibi. I'm a magistrate by the Judicial Service Commission. I was so happy to be part of the job fair for Africa University. The students were very happy and eager. I've also learned a lot despite coming here to tell the students of who we are and what we expect from them when they are coming to the industry. The students were also eager and happy to join us. We are expecting to have students that are ready. After what the guest of honor has said today, these students have been taught what we expect in their CVs, what we expect on their social media handles, how they are going to put themselves out there today will affect them in the future. This job fair has set the motion of how they are going to conduct themselves in future for the industry, and we will be happy to employ students from Africa University, and thank you so much.
Hi guys, my name is Zaid Patel. I'm the Student Representative Council President here at Africa University. Being in the SRC has been truly a life-changing experience. My mandate as SRC President is to serve on the Board of Directors of Africa University. It has been a truly life-changing experience. I've met high-profile and influential people from all around the world. Here at Africa University, as the Student Representative Council, we advocate for students' needs. We organize a variety of campus events and activities. We advocate for students, and we have the students at heart. This is truly the School of Hope in the Valley of Dreams. Thank you.
My name is Mona Lisa Scala, a first-year law student. I'm actually Zimbabwean. So this job fair was actually insightful for a law student like me. We got to learn that it's not always about being a legal practitioner practicing law in the courts, but rather we have a broader way to choose exactly what we want to be. So personally, it helped me. Thank you.
Hello, good day. My name is Yolanda Sangweme. I am the marketing officer for SimSwitch Technologies. We are excited to be here at the Africa University 2024 Job Fair to also exhibit what we are about, what we stand for as SimSwitch, which is we are also excited that this is a very progressive university in the sense that I've heard that they have programs in the AI field, they have IT, which is also something that we as a company, we stand for, and we're actually also looking into that to develop, especially in the AI field. We are mainly excited also because as SimSwitch, one of our pillars is financial inclusion. We look into including everyone in their payment needs in what we do, the product that we develop. So at the moment, I've been talking to the SRC manager just here, SRC president, and he was mentioning that they have a tax shop up there, and it's something that we can actually look into to say they want to do online payments, for example. Yes, so we are excited. We have come to a very progressive university, and we are hopeful that we'll have long-term partnerships in terms of the product that we offer, and also what the university can offer to us as SimSwitch in terms of the product that they require from us and what we can give them. We're excited to also tell you that from the SimSwitch team, we also have alumni from the AU. One is doing attachment and one is actually a graduate trainee. So we are excited that we have these long standing partnerships. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Charangwa, representing Stanbic Bank Zimbabwe. It's been a great day here at AU, participating in the job fair. And this is the second time running that Stanbic Bank has been a part of this fair. For us, it gives us the opportunity to interact with the Africa University students who are the future employees of institutions such as ourselves. So we've been imparting knowledge around navigating the workforce, the workplace, and we've also been taking questions from them around some of the areas that they feel they need assistance from seasoned bankers like ourselves. So we always appreciate opportunities such as this for us to interact with the students and guide them on navigating the work. In addition to participating at job fairs such as this, Stanbic Bank is also a donor to Africa University. We do have running a scholarship program that is supporting 6 female students that are at different levels of their studies here at Africa University. And we've also been partnering with Africa University to provide financial inclusion to the students through our youth accounts, as well as building the financial literacy skills that they need for them to grow and succeed in an environment like Zimbabwe.